So a couple weeks back, I made a video about how JEPQ is one of the most underrated monthly dividend ETFs, and as of right now, I still believe that to be true. I also made a video about how I added $1,000 into JEPI and how much I make each month in dividends with that much invested. So if you haven't seen those two videos yet, I'd suggest subscribing to my channel and checking them out.
Do it.
After a few months of adding shares of JEPQ to my portfolio, I figured I'd make this video and go over how much I'm currently making each month with a little over $1,000 invested in it. So last year in 2022, JEPQ was probably one of the best performing out of any other monthly dividend ETF because the yield at one point was over 17%, with payouts as high as 68 cents per share. Which might not sound like very much, but to put it in perspective, if you had $100,000 in JEPQ last year when it popped onto the market, you would have been averaging about $1,500 a month in cash flow or passive income for the entire year. But as the tech sector has been rallying this year, the share price jumped up quite a bit as well, bringing the yield down to about 12% currently, and the last dividend payout was roughly 36 cents per share, which is actually kind of on the low end. For those of you who don't know, JEPQ is a derivative income ETF, so most of the money made by the managers of the fund is from options premiums, or the returns that they're getting from trading options, and that's how it's able to pay out those high monthly dividends. But it's set up to generate income from both capital appreciation as well as dividend income, as we've seen so far this year with its year-to-date return being around 22%, including dividends. So with this specific ETF, there's a lot of exposure to mega cap growth tech stocks, and I know to some of you that makes it less attractive because of the volatility that we see in the NASDAQ. But for an investor like me, it's perfect because I'm a little bit younger and I already invest pretty heavily in tech and growth, but I also really enjoy dividend income as well, which is why I'm planning on continuing to build up my position in JEPQ over time. And even though JEPQ might seem risky since there isn't too much of a track record, it's actually a lot less volatile than the QQQ. Pulling up the one-year chart, we can see that JEPQ there in the orange is a lot less choppy than the QQQ, but still beats out the S&P 500. And this goes to show that JEPQ is able to deliver its promise of less volatility, but still having returns that are similar to the NASDAQ. So those are a few reasons why I've been buying more shares of this ETF, and with that being said, let's now jump into my positions in both JEPI and JEPQ. As I mentioned earlier, I've had about $1,000 in JEPI for a few months now, and I haven't been adding much more to JEPI because I've been building up the position in JEPQ, and I just recently got to over $1,000 in JEPQ, right at 25 shares. And both these funds pay out their dividend the first week of every month, so I just recently got a monthly dividend payment of 36 cents per share, but I've added a few shares since then, so as you can see, I only had about 15 shares at the time, which comes to about $800. So my total amount for this month was a little over $5. Now, 36 cents per share is actually a little lower than usual. If we look at the distributions for the last 12 months, it usually averages around 46 cents per share in dividends, with the range being anywhere from 36 cents per share all the way up to 68 cents per share. So going forward, with the amount that I currently have in JEPQ, I should be averaging about $12 a month in dividend income, assuming that 12% yield stays the same. I've also been averaging about $7 a month in dividends from my JEPI position, so with these two funds, I'm making just under $20 a month in passive income. And the goal with these two positions is to average about $100 a month in dividends from each fund, so $200 total. That way I can continue reinvesting the monthly cash flow back into these funds and continue that dividend snowball effect. Now keep in mind that these two ETFs are only a small percentage of my portfolio. I have just under 50K in this account, so it's not like I'm putting a large portion in either of these, but it's nice having that consistent income coming in every month. And like I always say, any dividend income that you receive will be taxed, so you'll definitely want to keep that in mind when investing into ETFs like these. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think of JEPQ, if you're investing in it or if you're staying away for now. I know it's a little controversial since it's still a new ETF. It's only been on the market for about 13 months. So feel free to leave your opinion in the comments and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.